The undefeated BeanSoldier looks to keep it that way against one of the most dominant forces in Elestrals history, Trishula, as these two casters clash it out in a true test of skill and determination, as only one of our final four will be immortalized as a divine rune in Elestrals history. BeanSoldier had the upper hand in the regular season clash, but Trishula is ready for the comeback in this best of three showdown. Let's not waste any time. BeanSoldier, tell us about your game plan this week.
What's up, my Bugs? It's your boy, BeanSoldier from the Elestriad, and we are in top 4 on an 8-0 win streak. We have not lost yet this season, and I'm not trying to let that happen today. I would like to make that number 9-0, but Trish is in my way. Of all people, a good friend. I'll also say that Trish is also the one person during the Swiss round that I definitely was not supposed to win against. We kind of stole the win from him with triple eruption. I think he's going to be out for vengeance today, which means I gotta bring my A game. So, what are we rocking with? We're rocking 5s. We've always been rocking 5s. Sorry to abandon my Cryoling Enjoyers, but this is just the best deck we could possibly bring. Gets all the spirit regeneration that we need. It has all the consistency that we could possibly ask for. And I think even with his Zeus, we still have a good option to put up big guys every single turn. We also have a Lavalith to punish his Zeus if he chooses to play it. And also plenty of outs to Astrabbit with our Sorlet and also our secret tech for this week. I was scrounging through my collection and all of my pulls, and the one card that I seem to have pulled that can answer any strategy that he brings us this week, keep in mind he has double Sonicor as well, which I'm very scared of, is Galaxair, a card that has not been played in the Elestriad up until this point, for good reason. It's kind of mid, except in this exact situation. This can out Astrabbit, it can out any 5. I know Trish has been playing a bunch of different 5 strategies over the past couple of weeks. This can deal with most of the things that I am expecting him to bring this week. So, let's hope that Galaxair can carry us to victory, but we are also maxing out on the removal options. We have Earthquakes and Resting on the Laurels. Again, I wish I had more of those. Nectar to Gods to hopefully see these a little bit more, and the Ambrosius to get those spirits back off the Nogs, and also to double with our Chautauqua. Typical counter rune suite, maxing out on the 10 that we've had pretty much all season, and I think this will get the job done. Tsunami probably won't be the best into this matchup, but we'll just have to make do. We are siding 3 additional spirits. We're siding 2 Vapyro and 1 Leviathan because we have a lot of water cards in our side just in case Trish decides to bring like a Bag of Wind strategy, or if he plays Volt Tempest and we have to use Tsunami paired along with the Veritaqua to out it, we need to max out on our options to get rid of it. We're also playing 3 Atlantis if he's on Race to the Top Thunder for some reason. Getting that Mount Olympus off the board is very important. And then, of course, we had to try and do it to him again. We're siding the 3 eruptions, baby. It's not going to happen this time, I'm going to tell you right now. But we're going to side into it if he plays a very aggressive strategy, and maybe we can catch him off guard if he doesn't think we're on it this time. Trish, I love you, bud, but you're going down.
The 5-guy strategy is massive, and I absolutely love the Galaxair edition. That's a card that I think has been slept on a bit in competitive play, as it can really mess up the game plan of opposing Astrabbit players. Those 3 eruptions in this side deck could prove to be menacing as well. Trishula, you narrowly lost in the regular season. What's your game plan this time?
We are facing off today against one of only 2 casters in main season Elestriad who was able to take victory over me, and that is the legendary BeanSoldier TV. Very good player in his own right. Very good dude, too, in his own right. Love Josh. He's great. But I don't know if I'm throwing by doing this, to be honest, but I'm playing the same deck I've played for the last, several weeks now. It's 3 Astrabbit, 3 Elichick, 2 Sparkit, 2 Zeus. So it's a Thunder Nexus package. Shoutouts to Sparkit being the first card banned in Elestrals. So the idea, if you don't know, is that I don't think Thunder Nexus, without having a full suite of Altar of the Stars or anything like that, is strong enough in a format like Elestriad. So I've been trying to supplement that by playing a 5s package, or specifically a 5s water package. with 3 Galaxy, 2 Dratagua, 2 Foamy, which I don't think I've ever drawn this card. But like, I'm debating cutting this, but I don't want to cut it. In theory, this card is good. It's never mattered though. And a Necruff. For the side deck, this is where the deck gets interesting. So if you're a deck builder and this is the stuff that you care about listening to this segment, this is the segment to listen to because this is the fun part. So once again, I am citing the Race to the Top engine. I think that these are just decent to have like on the in the sideboard. I know that in his 5s deck he likes to run Atlantis, so if I see that, I know I can put Jolton in for the Olympuses. If he switches off of 5s though, I think that it's fine for me to just not have these in the main deck. In Josh's top 8 match, we saw that he brought Typhlant and Ivory against Shady Penguin. I thought about bringing Typhlant Ivory against him as well and just trying to like hard control mirror him, but I have a feeling that that's not going to be great into a Typhlant Ivory mirror. I think we would both have a big elephant that sits there and does nothing, and we would just kind of stare at each other, ripping cards out of each other's hands in a stalemate until one of us runs out of spirits. And I don't really love this sound of that. So in the side, I am siding 1 Sparkit, 1 Zeus, 1 Imperial, 2 Circle the Sky, and Nectar of the Gods. So the idea with the Sparkit, Zeus, Imperial, Circle stuff is that in the event that he is playing a deck that is doing something that I can't deal with, maybe he's walling up with Bag of Winds, maybe he's walling up with, a big dude like the Typhlant, for example, or the Typhlant Ivory stuff. So with the Typhlant Ivory in mind, I wanted draw power. I wanted to be able to try and outdraw the hand rips. So it's like, okay, you can rip a card out of my hand, Josh, but I have 10 of them. It's fine. I don't care. So that was the idea I'm putting these in. The natural next progression is, well, what can I do to take advantage of the card draw? Well, I can put in Imperial, which is the card that made my Elestriad debut in week 1, that won me that game, because we found that this card is exceptionally good at controlling game states, and it is very easy to cheat out with stuff like Circle the Sky and also the Sparkits. So giving us more ways to Nexus, always good with the Sparkit. Also a great card to put in going first, just to, Sparkit Zeus turn 1, baby. I mean, it's best opening in the game. So that's what's going on here. That's the idea here. And then, yeah, I guess the Zeus also for the Sparkit, just more more ways to Sparkit Zeus him. But I think the Imperial is definitely like our secret spice. If it comes up, great. If it doesn't, oh well. But got to take it back to the roots, because you never know with Josh. Josh is scary. He's the raid boss. So I want to do something scary as well that hopefully he's not prepared for. Knowing Josh, he's thought of this and he's built a perfect counter deck to this. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully that just does not happen.
Looks like we've got a little bit of a mirror here in some ways, with Trishula opting to lean into water alongside his normal Thunder Nexus core. I think the interactions with Galaxy in this clash are going to be something super interesting to watch. I, for one, cannot wait for this showdown as BeanSoldier kicks it off with a Nectar of the Gods. And Nectar of the Gods is a very interesting card that sees some play in some decks and not a ton in others. In water, it has kind of one of its best advantages though, because water loves to see a lot of those cards to execute some different combos, and it's a little more forgiving with Dratagua being able to heal every time it receives a water spirit. BeanSoldier in this case gets it started with an Astrabbit, so that Nectar of the Gods proven to be incredibly useful as he's able to get a card from the top of his deck, and then another Nectar of the Gods. He's drinking good today, using 5 spirits on his first turn, but providing himself with incredible card advantage. He found an additional 3 cards on this turn from Astrabbit's effect, and the 2 Nectar of the Gods going +1. That is a lot of advantage for a player going first, especially in a situation where you know you're going to need to protect your rabbit. You're going to want to protect your back row, and he's got a lot of options to do so. But Trishula responds with a rabbit of his own, and he's going to pull a rabbit out of his hat and add to his card advantage. No Nectar of the Gods, though, on his end, but he will set 3 back row, plenty of defenses to stop BeanSoldier. Let's see if we see any sort of offensive plays here. This is where that Galaxair could come in handy, but BeanSoldier, who is bluffing a face down Earthquake, is going to use it right now, and that's going to immediately give him the opportunity to go on the offensive and start to chip away at Trishula's Spirit deck, where Trishula actually sitting at a 6 Spirit lead. Dratagwa's going to change that right away, though, healing up 2. I don't think Trishula responds to this, and that's what we were talking about before, where BeanSoldier can actually provide himself a tremendous amount of sustain just through Dratagwa alone and its healing effect. And, you know, it's not much of an attacker, obviously, but if it could be paired with a Galaxy, it could be quite the threat. We know Trishula is actually running Galaxy himself, so that's something to keep in mind in this one. We're going to see Trishula reaching to throw down an Elestral. It's going to be the Foamy. I love the potential of this play here if Bean is not running the Gorgon's Gaze, because Foamy can crash into the Rabbit and get out another Elestral, which I think could be really advantageous here, or it can opt to take the Dratagwa to prevent BeanSoldier from healing, and it gets around Tsunami, but there's the Gorgon's Gaze, so a wise choice on BeanSoldier's end. He's going to stop the effect of Foamy from proccing, and it looks like it'll probably cost him his own Astrabit here as well, so Foamy unable to get its search effect off. BeanSoldier walks away from that one in a decent situation because he prevents Trishula from gaining any sort of momentum by searching his deck, prevents a Dratagwa of his own, and he's going to follow up with another Astrabit anyway. So a really, really powerful spot to be in, as both Dratagwa and Astrabit can pressure the Spirit deck. Even with their tiny attack stats, the advantage that Bean is getting from this is massive. We'll see one back row and then the double attack. If you're Trishula here, you're probably letting this go through unless you have a Shield of Achilles, because you don't want to Tsunami a Dratagwa, because that's not going to do anything, and sending Astrabit to defense position is generally ill-advised. Trishula draws down to just 14 spirits left. He's going to find his Elechick. That's huge for the Thundercaster, getting out the Zeus later on, having that Gorgon's Gaze used up on the Foamy on the prior turn, gives him the freedom here to get this search out, and that could be really devastating, as we know BeanSoldier had a pretty extensive hand. We saw him set those Earthquakes and things of that nature before to ensure that he wasn't going to get it hand ripped from Sparkit, but Elechick's attack does connect here. It takes out the Rabbit. A big win there for Trishula as he works to try to get himself some board state advantage, but Sorlet, another Wind Elestral comes out, but it's going to be misenchanted with water. That allows it to get around Tsunami with no problems, and a wise decision to change Dratagwa to defense, forcing Trishula to use that Zeus if he wants to be able to attack over it. The Sorlet does connect, and perhaps using that Water Enchant on BeanSoldier's end, proving to be one of the most tactful decisions that he could have made, as Elechick hits the field again for Trishula. This is going to give him another search to his Divine, and while he most certainly doesn't need a second Zeus, it does allow him to thin his deck a little bit further so that he can find the cards that he does want to find. The Zeus hits the field with 3 spirits and a disenchant that'll certainly target down the Sorlet, as Trishula looks to put on enough offensive pressure to take that thing out before BeanSoldier can continue to mount an offensive. And there's the Ambrosia play. Trishula kind of got off to this one with an early lead because of all the card advantage BeanSoldier generated. That Ambrosia is going to keep him in the lead here in terms of spirits, but BeanSoldier with the Shield of Achilles response, a really good trade there on Bean's end because Trishula was forced to use that Zeus. So he's actually getting a pretty neutral spirit situation there, and also removing the Elechick from the field. Here comes an Ascension, it seems. No, just a re-enchant on the Dratagwa here for BeanSoldier, allowing him to heal up 2 additional water spirits. This is an opportunity for him to go on the offensive with Dratagwa as well, if he feels that he has a back row that can take on an attack. To me, the offensive threat is really the Sorlet, but the Gorgon's Gaze comes out for Trishula, so he's going to say, you know what? I'm not even going to let you regenerate this, and I think that's a really wise play there. You stop him from gaining 2, and you also stop yourself from taking 2, but he's going to go for the Ambrosia anyway and pull it off the Dratagwa. That is a really valuable use of spirits. I want to just emphasize that, and that's one of the things that makes me most excited about gameplay in Elestrals, is the opportunity to use spirits multiple times to activate different effects, and that's what we saw there. Even though the Gorgon shut it down, BeanSoldier tried to get a heal 2 with the Dratagwa, and then he was going to use that same spirit to generate the advantage with the Ambrosia, which is an incredible, incredible play. We're going to see Trishula respond, though. The Sparkit is here. Only 1 back row to deal with, and a second Zeus on Trishula's end that's going to ensure that he can not only go for a Nexus this turn, but provide the buff that he needs to attack over this Sorlet. This game might just come down to where are we at on that back row? What does BeanSoldier have face down? He's burned 2 of the Gorgons. We're going to see all the guys. Galaxy, Necrof, Sorlet. Trishula does not want to see that because he recognizes now, if I don't have the back row to protect my Sparkit, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. He can now disenchant. He can basically drop the attack of the Sorlet. BeanSoldier is out of back row, and now we know that if he doesn't set any more face down runes, he may not have any more back row to prevent the onslaught from Trishula. So if you're Trishula, you actually feel pretty good here. It's just a matter of, can you protect your Sparkit this turn? If you can, you're in an incredible spot, but no! The resting on your laurels is BeanSoldier's last face down rune, tactfully played and set masterfully to dodge the Sparkit hand rip and ultimately be there when he needs it most, right at this very moment, to take out the Sparkit when he was basically threatened by the potential defensive prowess of Trishula. He did indeed draw an additional rune, perhaps a bait, but Dratagwa and Necrof able to hit the field and now charge forward and potentially deal 2 spirits of damage. If you're Trishula, there's not really an optimal play here. You're probably just going to take the hit unless you really want that Necrof in defense with Tsunami, which I guess could save you a spirit later with Zeus. Let's see if he's going to go for it. That is going to be the play. So knowing that there's only one back row and it was top decked off Bean, maybe kind of hedging his bets that it's an invoke and it might be a bluff, he's going to go for the Tsunami, shift that Necrof into defense position, and now he's able to try to beat that thing down with an offensive play here, as he is going to be down to just 4 spirits after that turn, and how quickly the tides have turned as BeanSoldier sitting at 8 spirits himself. Smoltuga has just enough might to get over Necrof's 1 defense with 2 attack, and that's going to give Trishula a little bit more stability going into these later turns, as I'm sure he searched out his Necrof there of his own, which could actually get him right back in this game if it can pick up a destruction. Smoltuga gonna fire off into the Necrof. BeanSoldier with a response. It's the Shield of Achilles, and that is all but going to seal this first of the best of 3, as Shield is going to bounce Smoltuga back to hand, and BeanSoldier, all he needs is an additional Elestral and can pressure the back row with 3, and because 2 of them are water, we know that Tsunami cannot save him. Necrof, Dratagwa, and Smoltuga all charge forward and are going to potentially deal 3 spirits of damage to Trishula. And there's not a whole lot he can do about that here. Trishula going to be forced to top deck into an Ambrosia, utilizing the Spirit on his Zeus to make that happen. But he is going to scoop, and we will be heading to a game 2 of this best of 3 clash, with BeanSoldier picking up a dominant win there. Started off with a ton of card advantage, ended up using a lot of spirits to do so, but able to use Dratagwa there to heal enough spirits up and ultimately take the W. Let's see what these casters are going to do with their side decks going into Clash number 2. Having the opportunity to decide who goes first, Trishula going to kick this one off with an Astravid of his own. Both casters looking to get this incredible card advantage right out the gates, and Rabbit does just that for Trishula. He's going to be able to look to try to execute that Zeus Sparkit combo once again, as BeanSoldier will draw to the top of his deck and grab a Thunder Spirit of his own. He's got his own Rabbit, so they exchange a nice chuckle between each other as they've got the double Rabbit once again, vying for their positioning and their combo pieces, and we'll have to see which of these casters can crack through the 5 defense armor of this incredible Rabbit. Notably the best card in the game, and Bean does it once again the same as he did last game, the Earthquake, which is big. And you know, Earthquake, it's such a powerful removal card. It's, you know, a card that I think most casters are trying to fit into their decks at this point, for that reason, right? To get rid of the Rabbit, to get rid of those big threats. It's such a reliable tool. And it looks like Trishula is going to respond. The mirror is real. We see the Earthquake once again taking out the Rabbit, and both these casters are locked up at 17-17. But Trishula has a chance to get an advantage here by getting an Elestral to the field. It's going to be the Elechick. That's one you definitely like to see. That search potential from Elechick to get your Zeus really allows you to set up for the rest of the plays that you're trying to take advantage of. But as we saw with Bean, resting on your laurels, a very powerful card. So if Trishula is not able to use his Zeus the most effective ways, then it actually ends up being a detriment, because it results in more spirits on field, opening the door for resting on your laurels. Nectar of the Gods has been instrumental in Bean's success going from that first game. He's going to play again, allowing him to draw 2 additional cards here, and we'll see if he's got a Dratagwa to follow it up to get that advantage. It's going to be the Necrof. Will he misenchant? He is. I love this strategy. He's been consistently using the misenchants on Nekruff, but the poison-tipped arrow is an incredible response from Trishula because it drops Nekruff's 5 attack down to just 3 attack, which means that poison-tipped arrow can actually seal the deal at the end of the turn. But BeanSoldier used his side deck and brought in the Atlantis. This is going to be very interesting to watch because I don't think BeanSoldier recognizes the water deck that Trishula was running in that first game. We saw the Smoltuga, but was he ready for the Galaxy? Stellar Galaxy hits the field. A big play from Trishula, going to take advantage of that Atlantis and get him up to 6 attack, which means that if BeanSoldier's case, if he wants to be able to use things like his Sorlets and stuff, he's going to need to misenchant them, but he quickly identifies that this is not going to be an ideal play. I'm going to go, and I'm actually going to poison-tipped arrow this Galaxy and pull this, pull it off of the Atlantis there so I can get the Atlantis off the field. Trishula's going for a crazy play right now. He's actually Nexusing and misenchanting his Galaxy. I don't know what's going on. He's going to lose it at the end of the turn anyway. He gets the Circle the Sky draw, and he's going to get Poison-Tipped Arrow in the end phase. So a very interesting play from Trishula there. He looks like he wanted to get the advantage of the draw, but he didn't want to put a ton on the Galaxy there. It was kind of like he was going for a big hit, knowing he was going to lose it anyway. I wonder if he was trying to set up for like an Imperial play. I did see that in his side deck. Here comes the Lavalith, though. Massive, and that's what we were just talking about with Zeus, where it can be disadvantageous for Trishula because it loads his field up with spirits, which means that resting on your laurels and Lavalith can wreak havoc, and that also goes into BeanSoldier's game plan on the prior turn of pulling his Atlantis off the field to ensure that there was a big enough spirit differential between the two casters. A massive brain play from BeanSoldier. Trishula also running the Nectar of the Gods, perhaps looking to turbo into some sort of a combo piece here, down to just 7 spirits, gonna look to set up a defense to deal with this Lavalith, and Smoltuga is gonna help him do that by being able to search out a Fire Elestral, but it seems as though maybe he doesn't have any. We know he was only running the 1 Nekruff in his deck. We'll have to see. And here's the Galax Air. I love this card, making its name felt right now, being able to target the Smoltuga and swap its stats. So it's going to be a measly 2 defense when all is said and done. Trishula going to be looking to tsunami this onslaught here. Otherwise, he will see his Smoltuga sunk to the bottom of Atlantis with both Galaxair and Lavalith being able to do the work, but the Gorgon's Gaze will shut that down. He's gonna pull the spirit off of the Smoltuga, it seems, and actually opt to Gorgon's Gaze the Lavalith to prevent it from attacking. He'll take 1 spirit of damage when all is said and done there, and he'll be down to just 4 spirits, but staring down both a Galaxair and a Lavalith. Are we? Yeah, I think that's where we're at. I don't know if he didn't want to use the Gorgon's Gaze. We're doing a little rewind here. We'll have to kind of see what the play there was. I think generally you just kind of let the Smoltuga go down, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe he was trying to shuffle his spirits around because he probably knows that he needs an Earthquake. Maybe that's what this all comes down to, as he's trying to manipulate to have the spirits for Earthquake, and he didn't want to use them otherwise. So we'll have to kind of wait and see where this board state ends up here. He does take a Thunder and a Water, it seems, so maybe he was trying to set up for a future play and just wanted to reassess there. But BeanSoldier, 8 spirits to 4 with commanding board presence. And again, Trishula needs to deal with the Galaxair because it's going to be a problem on the following turn. He's going to get the Elechick. Elechick can provide him with enough offensive pressure to outpace the Lavalith. But again, if that Galaxair just sits there, if you don't have the back row protection against it, it can just kind of eat you alive. This is a really, really cool tech card on his end. We see the Misenchant Zeus, which could indicate an Altar of Stars face down. Elechick attacks into the Galaxair. That was probably what some of that spirit shuffling was. The Misenchant Zeus. Let's see here. He's going to respond. The Tsunami will send the Elechick to defense, and Trishula with just 2 spirits left. I think if you're BeanSoldier here, you want to just go on the offensive and force those runes. Galaxy gonna come out. That's going to provide another 5 attacker to the field for BeanSoldier. So both Galaxy, Galaxair, and Lavalith can all put in the work this turn. And you can even use Galaxair's effect on your own Galaxair to swap him to become a 4 attacker here. That way, if Trishula decides to Altar of Stars, you could crash, but I think you just attack with the Galaxy into the Elechick. You see a Gorgon's Gaze and Altar of Stars. He does go for the play. Let's see if it turns into anything. He's going to need to change his Elechick to attack and try to knock something out here, but this one's all but wrapped up. I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, we know he's got the Gorgon's Gaze face down. He does not have enough might or muster to be able to deal with this offensive barrage. Elechick does indeed. He's trying to manipulate his board state in some way, shape, or form to hang in there. He can Nexus onto the Elechick and switch it to attack, but if the target is anything other than the Galaxair, it's going to be all for naught. He does put the enchant from Zeus onto it. Pretty telegraphed there. Trishula down to just very few options at this point in the clash, and we'll have to see if there's anything left. He's going to swap the Galaxy to defense position, but now Galaxair hits him, and then the Lava Lid hits him. And I think even though we're debating on how this could potentially play out, I don't think Elechick is going to survive long enough, but he will pull 2 spirits to Gorgon's Gaze. He's got 1 spirit left. That 1 spirit will deal the final blow no matter what he does. And I think at this point, Trishula has probably recognized this one is over. Yeah, GG's BeanSoldier with a dominant win, going undefeated in the regular season. He is going to the championship match of the Elestriad. You guys do not want to miss the championship next week, so stay tuned for that. Show some love, hit that like button down below, and we'll see you guys for the finals.